Music is in
I think it's just
아니면 지금
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. May I please request you to take your seats? We'll begin in 2 minutes. Good evening, distinguished guests, Miriwe, Excellencies, respected leaders, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all. I'm Gitika Sharan, Head of Marketing for Wadhwani AI Global, and I'll be your host for the evening. This evening brings together voices united by a shared purpose to explore how artificial intelligence can be shaped thoughtfully and responsibly to deliver real public impact across the global south. To formally open this evening, it is my honor to invite Mr. Sunil Wadhwani, founder and chairman of Wadhwani AI Global, His Excellency Mr. Mridu Pavan Das, High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Rwanda, and our esteemed guest of honor, Honorable Eve, to kindly join us on stage. To set the tone for this evening's dialogue, we are privileged to hear from Mr. Sunil Wadhwani, whose long-standing commitment to using technology for public good continues to shape how AI is applied across health, education, and governance systems globally. Mr. Wadhwani is a globally respected philanthropist whose work has long focused on strengthening public systems and expanding opportunities at scale, especially in emerging and developing contexts. Through his leadership, he has consistently championed responsible, context-led AI designed to respond to real societal needs. His vision continues to shape global conversations on inclusive innovation, thoughtful governance, and long-term public impact. Please join me in welcoming him. Sir.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being over here. You know, I'm based in the US. I went there to get my master's degree. And so I stayed. So I've been there for many years, and I've traveled all over the world. But I realized today how much I've missed by not having come to Kigali before this. It's one of the most beautiful cities that I've seen. Unfortunately, I have only 15 hours over here. But 3 hours ago, I was talking to my wife, and I was saying, honey, we have to come back and spend time over here. She said, absolutely. So again, a very warm welcome to all of you over here. So it's a privilege to be over here with leaders, policymakers, development partners, innovators, who are shaping the future of artificial intelligence from where it truly matters, on the ground. I'd like to begin by expressing my sincere thanks to the Government of India, and in particular the High Commission of India, for their leadership in convening this dialogue. I'd like to acknowledge His Excellency Mr. Mridu Pavan Das, High Commissioner of India to Rwanda, for his personal commitment to strengthening India's partnerships across the global south. India's continued focus on responsible, inclusive, and development-led technology cooperation sets a powerful example for how innovation can be aligned with public purpose. I would also like to thank the government of Rwanda for its partnership, openness, and forward-looking approach. Rwanda has consistently demonstrated that when technology is guided by clear policy intent and strong institutions, it can become a true driver of national transformation. I'm equally grateful to our esteemed panelists, who you'll hear from shortly, for being part of this dialogue today. Your leadership, experience, and perspectives from across government, development, academia, and the innovation ecosystem will be central to grounding today's conversation in real-world insight and practical wisdom. Now, I think we all recognize that we are meeting at a very defining moment. Artificial intelligence, AI, is advancing at extraordinary speed. But while the technology itself is global, its impact is deeply local. The real question before us, therefore, is not how advanced AI can become, but how meaningful it becomes for citizens. In fact, that was the thinking behind the launching of our entire organization back in 2018, when we launched our Institute for Artificial Intelligence in India. What had happened was I had studied at Carnegie Mellon University many years earlier, got my master's there, and then I served on the board of trustees of Carnegie Mellon for about 20 years. So by around 2016, 2017, I could see the billion, and by the way, this was many years before Gen AI came out and all of us became conversant with AI. But even at that time, I could see the billions of dollars going into AI research, but what really struck me was all of that was being applied towards commercial purposes. No one in the West was thinking about how do we take this very transformative technology and apply it for social development, and for social development in the parts of the world that could use it the most, that could leverage it the most. That was the impetus behind starting our Institute for AI. Prime Minister Modi of India, who is a big believer in the power of technology, the power of AI, to drive social development, to accelerate social development, he inaugurated our institute. He's been a supporter of ours ever since. Over these last 7 or 8 years, we've developed over 25 AI platforms in India in areas like healthcare, education, agriculture, which are now impacting over 150 million people every year. And that number is growing up dramatically every year. That's the power of what we can do. Along the way, one of the important lessons we've learned is the AI solution, technically challenging as that might be, is only a third of the answer. 2/3 of the answer, if you actually want to drive social development and national transformation, 2/3 of the answer lies in understanding deployment, understanding the challenges of trying to get to scale, understanding how to work with government, understanding the need for government to be in the driver's seat as we go through this journey, and be just there to support with the knowledge that we bring in. So therefore, for countries across the global south, AI cannot remain confined to experimentation. It must strengthen health systems, improve education outcomes, support farmers, and enhance public service delivery. It must function within real constraints and, above all, earn public trust. This is where Rwanda's leadership stands out. Rwanda has taken a deliberate and disciplined approach to digital transformation. Its emphasis on readiness, governance, and coordination across government institutions offers valuable lessons for many nations navigating similar journeys. Rather than pursuing technology for its own sake, Rwanda has placed purpose, accountability, and long-term capacity at the center of its strategy. That mindset is essential for AI. At Badwani AI Global, we have learned that sustainable AI adoption happens only, as I just said, when governments lead. When solutions are co-designed with institutions. When governance frameworks are established early. And when success is measured not by pilots launched, but by outcomes achieved. India's experience reinforces this lesson. By viewing digital and AI systems as public infrastructure rather than as standalone tools, India has demonstrated that scale, inclusion, and trust can coexist even in highly complex environments. What this offers the world is not a template to copy, but a method to adapt. And it is precisely here that partnerships between countries like India and Rwanda become so powerful. What makes this cooperation meaningful is that it is grounded in shared values rather than asymmetry. Both countries see technology as a public good, not a privilege. Both countries believe that AI must strengthen institutions, expand access, and serve citizens at scale. This partnership reflects a model of collaboration built on co-creation where policy learning, institutional design, and technical capability flow both ways. It represents a future in which the Global South is not importing solutions, but rather we are shaping them together. The partnership between Rwanda and India is built on a strong and long-standing foundation. Over several decades, this relationship has grown through cooperation in trade and investment, entrepreneurship, capacity building, education, health and pharmaceuticals, as well as ICT and digital infrastructure. India has long been regarded as a partner that understands Global South realities, particularly the importance of building local capacity alongside the transfer of technology. This AI for Impact Global South Forum builds on the shared history, extending Rwanda-India cooperation into the domain of AI for public good. It represents a natural evolution of the bilateral relationship from traditional development cooperation to next generation collaboration focused on emerging technologies and shared development challenges. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to His Excellency, again, Mr. Mridyu Pavandas, High Commissioner of India to Rwanda, and to the Honorable Minister of State for ICT and Innovation for their leadership and support in advancing this partnership. South-South collaboration can be a very powerful force multiplier. When countries with similar realities work together, they reduce duplication, accelerate learning, and build solutions that travel across borders with far greater relevance. This approach shifts the conversation from technology transfer to shared ownership. This forum reflects that spirit. It is not simply a gathering of experts. It is a space for honest exchange between leaders who are building AI in real time, within public systems, and with real accountability to citizens. So as we look ahead to the India AI Summit, insights from Kigali, from our conversation this evening, will play a very important role in shaping the broader Global South agenda. They will help ensure that global conversations are informed not by theory alone, but by lived experience, institutional wisdom, and policy maturity from regions that are too often underrepresented. If AI continues to be shaped by only a few countries, inequality will deepen. But if it is shaped collectively through partnerships grounded in trust and shared purpose, it can become one of the most powerful tools for inclusive growth in our time. Thank you all for your leadership. Thank you for your leadership, your partnership, and your commitment to building an AI future that is responsible, collaborative, and truly global. We at Vadvani AI Global very much look forward to working with you on this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vadvani, for those thoughtful opening remarks. We are now honored to hear from His Excellency Mridyu Pavandas, High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Rwanda. A seasoned career diplomat, His Excellency Mridu Pawan Das brings with him 2 decades of experience across key international assignments, including senior roles in Washington, D.C., Tehran, and Dhaka, and in various capacities at the Ministry of External Affairs in New Delhi. His work has consistently reflected a strong commitment to advancing India's global partnerships, public diplomacy, and multilateral engagement. Since assuming charge in August 2024, he has played an important role in strengthening India-Rwanda cooperation and deepening collaboration across shared development priorities. Your Excellency, may I please invite you to address the gathering.
Excellency, Your Excellency, Eve Irudakunda, Honorable Minister of State for ICT and Innovation, Government of the Republic of Rwanda, Mr. Sunil Wadhwani, Founder and Chairman, Wadhwani AI Global, Dr. Rakesh Kumar, Chief Consultant Global Health with the Wadhwani Initiative for Sustainable Healthcare, Mr. Nakul Jain, CEO and MD, Wadhwani AI Global, Excellencies, distinguished guests, partners, colleagues, and friends. Good evening, namaskar, mirive. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to the AI for Impact Global South Forum. As Mr. Wadhwani mentioned, today's event is a prelude to the India AI Impact Summit 2026, being organized by the Government of India on 19th and 20th of February 2026 in New Delhi, just about a month away from now onwards. The India AI Impact Summit 2026 follows the 2023 AI Safety Summit in the UK, 2024 AI Seoul Summit, and 2025 AI Action Summit held in France. This summit will be anchored on 3 foundational principles, namely people, plant, and progress. These foundational principles define how AI can be harnessed through multilateral cooperation for collective benefit. Building upon the 3 foundational principles, the deliberations at the India AI Impact Summit will be organized around 7 interconnected chakras. Chakras, that's an Indian word, Hindu word, chakras, or Sanskrit word. Chakras, that is areas of multilateral cooperation designed to channel collective energy towards holistic societal transformation. These 7 chakras are human capital, inclusion, safe and trusted AI, resilience, science, democratizing AI resources, and social good. These 7 chakras represent focused domains of international collaboration that translates the broader principles of people, planet, and progress into concrete areas of action. In this regard, I'm thankful to the government of Rwanda for agreeing to co-chair the Human Capital Working Group segment of the India AI Impact Summit, a testament to our warm partnership and openness to collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, you'd all agree that today AI stands at the threshold of fundamentally reshaping human civilization, pushing the boundaries of what we can achieve. In the words of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, and I quote, AI can help transform millions of lives by improving health, education, agriculture, and so much more. It can help create a world in which the journey to sustainable development goals becomes easier and faster. To do this, we must pool together resources and talent. We must develop open source systems that enhance trust and transparency. We must build quality data sets free from biases. We must democratize technology and create people-centric applications. We must address concerns related to cybersecurity, disinformation, and deep fakes. And we must also ensure that technology is rooted in local ecosystem for it to be effective and useful, unquote. In the last few years, it has been the endeavor of Government of India to democratize AI, bridge the AI divide, and align the global discourse on AI with the needs of the Global South. In this context, what is of concern to the Global South is that while AI is advancing rapidly across the world, most global AI conversations are still shaped by contexts very different from theirs. It is imperative that we utilize the transformative potential of AI for the benefit of one and all. We must redouble our efforts to ensure that there is no AI divide in terms of absence of computing power, models, resources, and talent. AI should also be contextualized to bring about local solutions. In an African context, AI solutions can make a difference in agriculture, in social sectors such as health and education, and in promoting good governance. One also needs to be mindful of the fact that the use of AI should be responsible and should be guided by an ethical framework. And that is precisely why today's dialogue matters. Today's isn't this particular event. For India and Rwanda, AI is not about experimentation for its own sake. That's what Mr. Wadhwani also said. It is about solving real problems, delivering health services in remote areas, improving learning outcomes, strengthening public administration, and ensuring that technology expands opportunity rather than deepens inequality. I'll be failing in my duty if I do not acknowledge our partner for today, our gracious partner for today, Wadhwani AI Global, and particularly Mr. Sunil Wadhwani, who has specially flown in from New York for this event. And he's here for the next 15 hours only. I think you should come and spend more time in Kigali next time with your family. This is a wonderful country, as you'd have seen. Whatever little you saw in Kigali, it's the same everywhere in the country. I've traveled all around. We commend Wadhwani AI Global for their commitment to building AI solutions that are grounded in public purpose. Their work reflects our deep understanding that technology on its own does not create impact, that institutions do. I look forward to the discussions ahead and to the continued strengthening of India-Rwanda cooperation as we work together to build AI ecosystems that serve people first. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your valuable reflections. I would like to request His Excellency Mridu Pavan Das to felicitate our honorable guest of honor, Honorable Eve Iradukunda, and present a token of our gratitude. It is now my privilege to invite the Honorable Eve Iradukunda, Minister of State at the Ministry of ICT and Innovation. Prior to his current role, the Honorable Minister served as a permanent secretary at the ministry, where he played a key role in advancing Rwanda's digital transformation agenda. His career reflects a strong commitment to public service, institutional strengthening, and innovation-led development. Under his leadership, Rwanda continues to demonstrate how technology, guided by clear national priorities, can drive meaningful and inclusive public impact. Honorable Minister, we would be honored to hear your address.
Good evening. Good evening. Great. It's good to hear your presence in the room. Your Excellencies, friends, colleagues, once again, good evening and happy to see all of you. Many of you at this juncture, at the end of a busy day, at the beginning of a year. Actually, hopefully it's not too late to wish you all a Happy New Year 2026. Your Excellency Ambassador, Mr. Wadhwani, thank you for your remarks. Thank you for your remarks that stress the importance of this very moment, but also your remarks highlight the value of partnership, the value of collaboration. When the government of India invited us to be a part of the AI for Impact Global South Forum happening a month from now, but also more importantly to collaborate on human capital components, we did not hesitate, because when you think about the developments that are happening in AI, it's only when we focus on the people, developing the human capital. But most importantly, it's in the spirit of South-to-South cooperation and partnership that we can be able to reap the benefits that AI can bring within our society. So I wanted to start by thanking you, first of all, for the partnership that has brought us together between the government of Rwanda, government of India, in the collaboration in what is going to be celebrated in India at the summit, the forum, but also importantly, the partnership with the Wadwani AI Global, which really culminated over the last several months of discussions that revealed alignment in terms of value, in terms of purpose, in terms of mission to leverage technology, particularly AI, to bring about the impact we want to see in our socio-economic development. It gives me pleasure to see many of our partners, the different countries, the ambassadors and high commissioners present here, heads of multilateral organizations, private sector partners, those we work very closely together, to be a part of this very important conversation. Earlier today, our Minister Honorable Paula Ingabire had a session during Davos World Economic Forum, and the particular panel she was having was discussing the impact AI is going to have on healthcare. And we announced today a new partnership that is looking at how do we bolster the foundational hurdles that prevent us from actually building models that can address our contextual challenges. And that's just yet another example of how we are trying to really build a global network of partners that can transcend the challenges that we are facing today. And it's in that spirit of collaboration that I believe our partnership with Wadwani AI Global is going to pave yet another path for us to start reaping the benefit of investing in AI, but investing with confidence and focus within the priorities that are core to our Vision 2050 here in Rwanda. Maybe to briefly speak about some of the things that have transpired over the last couple of years, particularly in the recent Global AI Summit that we had here in Kigali in April 2025. We noticed that for Africa in particular to win in this race on AI, we have to be deliberate in investing in human capital, yes, but most importantly, we need to be able to be focused on use cases that can unlock the impact early on. When developed countries and global corporations talk about the investments that are being made in AI, you make it really sound and seem very inaccessible. Why even try? Why even invest? Because the resources that are required to start seeing an impact are quite significant. But the power of Africa as a whole coming together to deploy AI models to solve shared challenges gives us the power to move faster and unlock the value of AI. So during the summit that we held here in Kigali, we announced the Africa AI Council that comes with partnerships within member states of African Union. It's endorsed by Smart Africa Alliance, African Union, among many other Africa-wide organizations. It's good to see Smart Africa also represented tonight. The goal is to rally thought leaders, policymakers, private sector, and funders towards the shared objectives of AI impact within Africa. So what we're trying to do here in Rwanda and where this spirit of partnership comes from is not working this journey alone, but leveraging the power of a connected continent, a youthful continent, but a continent that has shared challenges when you look at the obstacles we have in healthcare challenges, in agriculture, in education, among other priority sectors. I think on the same panel I mentioned earlier, Bill Gates was asked the question about, how does US approach AI versus a country like Rwanda? And in his analogies is an average US citizen may feel threatened that AI is coming to replace the job, referring particularly to doctors, radiologists, and others. But in our case, AI would, in that same example, amplify what doctors can be able to do, where we still have less than one doctor or healthcare worker for 1,000 people, which is way below what is recommended by WHO. So in that same vein, we think of how can we really be focused on where AI can win for us and be able to address the very challenges we have. And so we want to thank all our partners this evening, particularly those that we work very closely together to drive socioeconomic development in Rwanda. We have had a tremendous success in testing the benefit of technology through service digitization, making sure that infrastructure is accessible, but we are at the crossroad of now leapfrogging by adopting AI and investing in infrastructure that will enable further development. So your presence here tonight is a testament to your partnership, to the collaboration we can only expect will take us even further. We are very grateful for the partnership we will be kickstarting as we start the year with Wadwani AI Global to be able to deepen our work in use cases that are critical to our challenge. Mr. Wadwani talked about the different platforms they've done in India and elsewhere. And when we look at all those different platforms, the experience is shared. And so we're going to be leveraging the experience and hopefully addressing some of those challenges. There are many other partners in the room with whom we are working on when it comes to legal framework, regulation, the ethic guidelines that the private sector and public players have to abide by. And we have the full confidence that Rwanda and Africa and our partners globally, we can be able to chart a path towards a responsible use of AI to unlock our main challenges. Before I close, I just wanted to say we look forward to the AI for Impact Global South Forum coming up in a month. We will certainly have a delegation participating, and I take this opportunity to invite our partners to also take a part of the forum. We will be having an event on February 17th, and with a focus on human capital development. And many of the partners here are also invested in different programs, whether in education, in health, in agriculture. We will be sharing more of the developments we are having around use cases that should enable those critical sectors to develop. We have AI Scaling Hub that is a partnership with the Gates Foundation, looking at deploying different use cases in those critical sectors. So we'll be looking forward to a partnership with the private sector as well, but also continuation with the development partners, because a lot of these sectors require beyond just the technology, the training, the capacity building for community health workers, for farmers, and many others that are going to be very important to drive AI. Rwanda is committed to work hand in hand with you all, and we hope that the benefits of AI will amplify the impact of the work that we do together. On that note, once again, thank you for your presence this evening. Thank you to the High Commission of India in Rwanda, to Wadwani AI Global for the commitment that you've demonstrated in putting this together. And so I thank you and I wish you a great evening.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for those encouraging words. Thank you once again for your valuable remarks, dear speakers. May I please request you to take your seats in the audience. Thank you. Now move forward to the central dialogue of the evening, AI for our realities, how India and Rwanda are designing context-led innovation. This panel will explore how AI is shaping our realities. From India to Rwanda, we're seeing how context-led innovation is taking root. The conversation will focus on the lessons emerging from these experiences and what they mean for the road ahead. The discussion will be moderated by Mr. Nakul Jain, Chief Executive Officer for Wadhwani AI Global. May I invite Mr. Jain and our panelists to kindly join us on stage. Together, they bring perspectives from across policy, technology, and public impact. While we set the stage, I would like to take this moment to briefly introduce our panelists and moderator who would be joining the conversation. Our first panelist, Dr. Adelican, Country Representative, UNFPA, Rwanda. Dr. Adelican brings over 2 decades of experience across global health, development, humanitarian settings. As UNFPA's country representative in Rwanda, his work focuses on strengthening public systems and advancing sustainable development outcomes. Our second panelist, Mr. Olivier, Director, Rwanda AI Scaling Hub, leads Rwanda's national efforts to scale responsible and inclusive AI. With over 15 years of experience in digital transformation across Africa, he works closely with the government and ecosystem partners to turn AI ambition into real public impact. Our next speaker, Mr. Nasser, Head of Public Sector Innovation, GIZ Rwanda. He supports the government in using technology to improve citizen services. His work spans government tech, AI, and digital solutions that strengthen efficiency, access, and trust in public systems. Our next panelist, Professor Damien from University of Rwanda, is a leading academic in computer and software engineering and serves as acting director of the African Center of Excellence in IoT. Professor Damien is leading the project entitled Transformative Artificial Intelligence Research and Innovation at the University of Rwanda, which aims to position Rwanda as a leader in AI for development, advancing key sustainable development goals in health, food security, climate action, and sustainable urbanization. Our last panelist, Mr. Andrew Mohire, is the Chief Digital Officer at Rwanda's Ministry of Health and a former senior software developer within the ministry's Digitalization Directorate. With over a decade of experience in health information systems, he played a central role in the national rollout of Rwanda's health management information system, including the early customization and implementation of DHIS2, now used across all public and private health facilities. And lastly, our moderator, Mr. Nakul Jain, CEO and MD Wadhwani AI Global, leads the organization's mission to harness artificial intelligence for social good at scale. With over 15 years of leadership experience across technology, product management, and consulting, he has overseen the design and delivery of 40+ products that have advanced healthcare, agriculture, and education across Global South. May I please welcome all the panelists and the moderator on stage. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. It's my extreme pleasure and privilege to be a part of this room with such visionary leaders. I also thank my panelists for agreeing to do this. I know it was such a short notice for a lot of them, but they've been very kind. This is a very diverse, but yet a group with rich experience who has been working in Rwanda's AI journey for a while now. Your insights in today's panel would be very valuable for us. Global South and cooperation is something that we have been talking about a lot of time. AI has now provoked us to think about shared problems, shared solutions, and shared futures. Our learning from today will hopefully help us come up with a framework that will help us guide how to move forward in a collective journey towards AI for social good. Without wasting any more time, I would quickly want to put one question for the entire panel to start with. And from your perspective, what is one common assumption about AI for development that simply does not hold in global South context like India and Rwanda? I'm happy for anyone to take this question. Dr. Adelake.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'll start because I have the privilege to sit beside the moderator. But I'll start first by thanking Vadwani for this event, and also more importantly for the decision to come to Rwanda, because we believe Rwanda is as ready as you can get to actually scale up AI in the system. And also to thank you for actually looking towards, making sure that South-South cooperation is not only by name, it's also by actions. For me, I think from the things that we know, one of the most popular assumption that we've seen in terms of how AI would work to solve the world's development problems is the fact that we assume that AI is neutral, inherently neutral, and it's a technology that is universal and just needs to be deployed. That all the countries need to do is just to have the infrastructure or get more data to furnish, to make inputs into the AI models. But from experience, from what we have in Rwanda and also in other contexts like India, it has shown that AI needs to be contextualized. And if we don't do that, we get algorithm bias that would help or that will not help solve the problems of the people that are most marginalized in the communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else want to take that question as well? Please go ahead, Nasser.
Okay, thank you. I think I would like to thank you as well for having us on the panel today. And I think I'm going to side with what Dr. mentioned earlier on. From experience, AI is technology like all the other technologies, and there's usually something called unintended side effects of pretty much everything you deploy when it comes to technology. And I think the biggest assumption that I've seen around is that AI is what I call a one-size-fits-all. And context is not just an add-on, it's the beginning of everything. And if we're looking at AI for especially South to South, we're looking at a different environment from what you see in other places. There's a reason why things like mobile money work very well here. And yet in other places, it's Visa cards, it's Wi-Fi in the public areas and whatnot. So the use is quite different. So I think what he mentioned earlier on about contextualizing, if we're looking at AI, we have a very big journey that we have to look at, which is not just technology, but understanding, mindset change, and then the biggest thing, which is trust. I think trust is where we have to start from. If it works for us, then probably the technology may not be that nice, but if it solves a problem, then it will work very well.
No, thank you. I think context plays a very important part. There's no doubt about it. But I think maybe towards the middle of the conversation, let's also try to crack what exactly do we mean by context. But thank you for bringing that up. My next question is to Mr. Olivier. Rwanda has taken a deliberate approach to AI readiness. What is one infrastructure or system constraint that has actually pushed more innovative design rather than limiting progress?
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Nakur. Again, I second them in thanking you for inviting me here and us through the organization. It's a great pleasure to be here. And jumping right to the question, you know, this is not only unique to Rwanda, it's unique to many countries, and in fact, many African countries. We do have information, we do have what is called data, but not necessarily clean data to be used to train AI models in any scenarios. Information can be found in so many registries, and the prior digitization have done a lot of good job in scanning those documents to be digitally accessible, but not necessarily data to be treated. So there comes the key infrastructure that is needed for AI, to which innovators have to actually be very innovative in not being limited to wait for clean data, but find a way to build solution based on the minimum accessible data to start with, and then clean along the way. That's the key one. And this already, you know, you can imagine having to train a model in Kinyarwanda, to which it's one common language in Rwanda, but which can have different intonation across information that may have been recorded with registries written in English or French. So one have to really be innovative, and the people have been doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. And I totally agree with you, Olivier. I think that's super, super critical. So from one side, we're talking about, you know, challenges and potential, you know, innovative designs that are done for deployment. But towards, let's talk about the research side. So Professor Damien, you know, from an academic and research perspective, what is the biggest gap you feel between AI research and real-world deployment in public systems?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me to this panel. So, as you are saying that, I'm from the academia. We are actually working. We do face some challenges because the AI is new, but there are some solutions developed by our students. Most AI solutions are from young generation, because they are the one trained to develop solutions. And those solutions, they have to be applied in the industry. So this application, actually, there is some raw industry academia collaboration, which can enhance to have those solutions applied in the industry. So the main gap is that the linkage between the industry and the academia is that the main the linkage. It is very low, especially in Rwanda, where industry they should have some a trust to attract the solution from academia to be applied. So this one is the most important to assure that the solution developed by our student researchers, they have to be known by industry for adoption and application. So once this case of having those to work together with industry and academia to be able to have the common understanding, and the thing that they do, and that things from industry, from academia can be applied. So this is the main gap, is to have those the trust, and also the role, and also the awareness that the industry should be aware that the university are having the good solution on AI. So once they trust those solutions, that will be able to apply their solution from researcher to industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew, you've been very closely involved in building and scaling Rwanda's national HMIS. From that journey, what lessons feel most relevant as country begins layering AI into existing public health systems?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here. Actually, I'm happy to be in this forum and also the panel. I think the first thing that we learned is the language. We need to know when we say AI are we meaning the same thing? Because actually AI is a bigger thing, but I think something that we need to do currently is narrowing AI into use cases. Because, my experience internally, what I've seen, when you say AI, people think like an elephant, bigger elephant that needs resources and many things. But I think we need also to put it down in the level of implementations. What do we mean by AI? In the health sector, I think what we have done is coming up with use cases to make sure that we align with different partners, different innovators, startups, and others. So, for example, if we want to improve how community health workers treat patients, what we need to do is make sure that it's easier for them to interpret the lab results. So that is the priority. Another thing is there's some clinical decision support tools that make sure that in the process of interpretation, it's easier for them to have like a third decision tool that can tell you that you have decided A, B, C, D, but you have missed also this one. So actually the lessons that we have learned actually at the health sector is making sure that everything that we put on the AI side, we just narrow it down to the use cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. I think a lot of progress is happening across the globe where a lot of such use cases being built and being deployed, integrated with the existing system. I'm sure there's a lot of learnings, there are a lot of success stories, but also a lot of failure stories. Nasir, my next question is for you in this context. How can the development partners support governments without unintentionally fragmenting systems or duplicating efforts, given a lot of partners like GIZ and others work across the globe with different partners, and they are aware of some of these failures, successes, and what has worked, what has not worked, etc.
It's quite interesting. I think I'm going to reiterate what Minister of State mentioned earlier on, which is what we call shared foundations. So when we're talking about AI development projects, we're talking about a lot of things here. We're talking about compute, we're talking about a lot of investment in skills, we're talking about private sector, we're talking about cleaning data, we're talking about bringing in people with the knowledge base, we're talking about all sorts of things, technologies, frameworks, and as Andrew mentioned that AI is a lot of things. AI could be Earth data. Most people when they hear AI, they talk about the language models, and there's so many other versions of AI in there. And I'm thinking development partners have an opportunity to look at what we call shared foundations. If we're investing in things like AI frameworks, which harmonize on what it is that we can do in a particular country, and also on the continent, if we're talking about unifying things like when we look at organizations like Smart Africa. So shared foundations. So do we have an AI framework? What is the ethical use of AI? And have we had a bit of standardization on which kind of technologies we're going to use? And if I want to develop different clean data sets, what organizations can I work with? So it's a shared kind of exercise and not just duplicating and having what we call the siloed solutions, one solution per problem, and then we have an entire saturation. So I think the thing that should be mainly focused on when it comes to development partners is investing so much in the shared foundation part, because that's quite costly and it takes a whole, in Africa we have a proverb that says it takes a whole community to raise a child.
Yeah, no, thank you, Nasser. I'll move to Dr. Edel, and we were talking about context and how to break context down. So in population, health, and humanitarian settings, AI often interacts directly with vulnerable communities. From your experience, what is the biggest risk when AI is introduced without sufficient context awareness? And if you could also throw some light, what kind of context we need to be careful about?
Okay. Thank you very much. Increasingly, AI has been looked at to help solve many of the challenges that we have, both in development and humanitarian context, especially within the health sector of what we do. And I think for us, one of the most critical or the biggest risk that we've seen is the fact that if we are not very careful, AI can also magnify and entrench existing systemic inequalities that we have in the system. We talked earlier on about contextualized AI use. If we don't contextualize AI to the situation where you want it to work, you can have what we call algorithmic harm that we talked about earlier on. And this happens when AI models are built on data that are not representational of the areas where they are going to be deployed, or they are incomplete, or frankly speaking, if they reflect other contexts, or, currently most of the AI things that we have. Somebody said, I think it was the chairman that said when he was in America, they've started spending billions on AI already. You can imagine that the products that will come from those investments would actually reflect data that are not centric, that are not necessarily reflective of what we have in the South or in Africa for that matter. And if you use such data, you stand the chance of, misrepresenting the true situation of the context where these things are going to work. And if you use those data, all you do eventually is to take data from a development context that might not help you codify the issues that we have here appropriately, but instead help us to supersize the inequalities that we already have in our context. And I'll give you an example of that, especially in humanitarian context, when we have disease outbreaks, or emergencies like that, natural disasters. Before now, we try to use mathematical models to try to evaluate, to try to estimate what percentage of pregnant women would be in that population, what percentage of young girls would be in that population. But if you have an AI model that is not reflective of the context where it's going to be used, or is based on male-headed households, for example, or for that matter, AI model that does not properly capture the uniqueness of women and young girls in that population, you would end up forecasting inadequate resources that you require to address issues that are particular to women and girls. For example, in family planning, or even delivery kits for that matter in emergency situation. And once you do that, you'll not be able to address the needs of some of the most vulnerable people when we have humanitarian situation. Another example that I would like to give is also in the use of population data. If you have data from AI models, or data in AI models that are not reflective of the context, and you want to plan for development, you would misrepresent the needs of the population and not be able to plan or allocate resources appropriately, especially to address the needs of the farthest to reach, or those that are left behind in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Edlakin. Extending the conversation around context a little further, Professor Damien, universities have played a major role in talent creation, right? But what role do you think universities could potentially play in context-aware AI ecosystems?
Thank you very much for the question. So as the university, we do teach then to develop modules to solve the problem. So this one is not enough so that what we teach is applied. So we have to do something more. Actually, we have to assure that, the university have to assure that what is studied at the university is applied. So we have to develop partnership with industry, where our student or the graduate, you have to go and work and then and develop their talent so that what they have studied, it's applied. So we have also to see how the student actually they have some project which is innovative. The university have to look at how those projects are applied, they go to solve the issue, the challenges, by having allocating some budget. Maybe the university have to look for some budget which can strengthen the knowledge, so that the innovation are applied to address challenges. So they have also to have it to discuss with industry. Actually, they have it because the industry, they are the one to receive to apply the innovation. So the university have to partner with the industry to have some joint activities, to organize some event, Like last year with the University of Rwanda and the National Council for Science and Technology, we organized a meeting with the industry where we developed, actually we exhibit what we do so that the students have to exhibit what their solution, and then the industry know that they can aware what is happening, and they can see that the students are able to do something. So those exhibitions, that's where now the industry will be able to know that the university are able to do some project, and then they can be able to take their project for application. So those are the main activities to partner with the industry, and then also have some joint activities, having some workshop or exhibition, meetings with industry, so that to assure that the students are able to develop a solution. And then the industry will be able now to come and look at the students who are able. And also they have also to do some, to work with the industry for some user cases. Maybe for the industry has user cases to be developed. So I think they can involve the university to work together, and then they look for the solution. That's what I think can be able to done by our university. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Damien. From context, let's move on to trust and confidence in some of these systems. Olivier, from your experience at the AI Scaling Hub, what separates AI pilots that gain government confidence from those that struggle to move beyond experimentation?
That's a good one, huh? But, you know, this session is about being embedded in the reality. And that's exactly the starting point, is first, we need to all understand and agree that AI is not a primary need. It's not food. You can live without AI. You only think of AI the same way you go to any technology when you really start thinking about productivity, that this is actually where AI excels. So which means if you need government adoption, is like, are you solving a government service delivery pain point or a government system pain point? Or you just want a technology demonstration. The moment you are on the other side, on the tech demonstration, you already lose the fight before it even starts. So any AI solution, the way to look at it is like any other product that you can put on the market. It's you design with the target customer in mind and look at, am I responding to their need? If you are responding to the need, you already have the first part of the adoption. Then you need to look at who is going to be the owner. And now we are talking about government institution or any institution. The owner is like who you will call a project sponsor, not necessarily somebody who gives the money, but somebody who say, look, if this solution serves my need, I am going to champion its adoption and its use. These are kind of the first starting point before you really start in actually, getting into the beauty or the futures. What have been a struggle to many solutions and which can continue being a struggle is when we focus on the speed of delivering the proof of concept without actually taking any step to go into the proof of need. Am I really delivering a solution that is needed into XYZ context? Or I take a solution that looks like it can be good somewhere. It's been producing wonders into a certain countries. Then in this case, okay, then Rwanda should need it. And then you come here, NASA is like, oh, this does not put any food on my table. I can live without it. Why should I care? So that's basically the story too. It's like find the product owner and respond to a pain point. Then your adoption becomes easy. So you can easily advocate to get to it because people seize the value and they think that you really thought about them before you show them how you are a good engineer and you know how to code. Thank you. That's the point.
No, thank you, Olivier. On a lighter note, India has this proverb, the three basic necessities in life, roti, kapda, or makan, which essentially translates to food, clothing, and shelter. This was probably a decade back replaced by roti, kapda, makan, or internet. Right? I can't imagine, I mean, I'm fairly sure very soon it will be roti, kapda, makan, internet, or AI. So we are not very far from that as well, but no, I do understand, as of now, it's not the food. Nasir, your experience, what makes public servants confident enough to rely on AI-supported decision-making?
In my experience, only two things. One is involvement, and then the other one is understanding. What I've seen in Rwanda is that now public servants are taking an AI course. That's just the part about the understanding on how to use AI tools depending on the context of their job. But then understanding has not been enough because we're talking about also deployment, so we think about involvement. So involvement in the sense that when things were much simpler, we were just digitizing. Digitizing is just automating a process. But with AI, you're now adding an extra layer, which is decision-making. And when it comes to public service, decision-making has to be transparent on what kind of way you arrived at the conclusion. How did you decide? What are the mechanisms in which you're making the decisions? And you're using a tool like AI, so that's why I mentioned a bit of involvement, because if we're deploying a tool for any part of the government, then we have to involve them from the beginning to understand what are the models we are using to get to a conclusion. When I look at, for example, health sector, Andrew mentioned earlier on, if you're looking at the triage, digitization of triage, you've already digitized it. The doctor is using the tool, and now we are getting to an AI part where it's making recommendation of prescriptions so that we can reduce things like antimicrobial resistance. The doctor needs to know what models are you using to choose these kind of decision making, what models were done. You're not going to just build this thing in a lab somewhere and then deploy it at the hospital level. I think the doctor might say, I'll rely on my own analysis, I'll keep prescribing as I see fit. So two things, understanding and involvement, I think.
From governments to user, Andrew, you have worked directly with frontline users and led nationwide implementation. In your view, what separates digital or AI tools that health workers actually trust and use from those that struggle to gain adoption?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, the first thing that we all agree is that we need AI to add value on what we are doing. We've been digitalizing the process at health facilities to make sure that the whole process is paperless. But what we have seen without AI, the process is just changing from paper to digital. So, and again, what I have learned, there is some AI that we've been working on. The one was AI to compile the patient history and give it to the clinicians. Then another one was, because when we started the electronic medical record in the facility, we were looking at the paper. Then we realized that when they have the system, they take much time writing into the computer without looking at the patient. Then the patient is the one that is affected. Now we are working on an AI that allows boss to talk, then the system just transcribe into the system so that they don't write. But when we are doing that, I liked the fact that actually whatever we do in AI, we need to involve the end users. There was one question that they asked us, that if the system writes everything and I just confirm without analyzing, if we allow clinicians that the system will be writing everything, they can just save and complete. So that one gave us another idea of AI, and we said, okay, instead of AI doing everything, what if AI suggests from decision from clinicians? It types everything, then for you, you decide, then it tells you from your decision, you are missing A, B, C, D. So the experience I've seen, most of innovators and maybe some of us that we take decisions, it's very easy to take AI and we feel it fits everything. But I think users have to be on the center of everything. They should be the one guiding us. We need to co-create with them. We need to co-design with them to make sure they're the one that guides us. Otherwise, the rest of AI may work. Actually, I can give one example. We were testing one AI, and when we were testing, I asked the innovators, what data did you use? They said, we used the Mexico data. Okay, I said, good. It was AI listening to the baby, then the baby crying. Then it suggests what is the problem of, I think, asphyxia, if I am not mistaken. Then what I did, I just went in YouTube. I just picked the African baby. You know, the crying is different. Then the AI was saying that no one is crying. Because the data that was tested was from Mexico, and the crying tone is different. So imagine if you bring the same AI in the context of Rwanda, it can say everyone is sick. And I think it's very important that we look on the model and we make sure that we can contextualize this AI in our context to avoid errors. I think that's why everyone said trust. Trust is you understanding the model, training on your own data, and validating. That is what we are working with CFOR to make sure that we have validation checklists. What do we look? How do we validate this AI? So that one will also give trust to adoption. And some of us who are leading this innovation will be really very confident to implement them. That is what I could actually say. Yeah, thank you.
Right on the spot, Andrew. I mean, I can't agree more. In fact, one of the experiences we have had in one of our agricultural products, very early in time, we were trying to identify pests from photographs. And we would sort of experiment with our own faces, and it would point us as pests, which a lot of our colleagues did agree to as well. But I totally agree with what you meant. Dr. Edelakin, moving to you. In your work across multiple regions, what has proven more difficult to build trust? AI systems, technology itself, or the institutions that are deploying it, and why do you think that's the case?
Thank you very much. I think in our own experience, it's invariably the institutions that are deploying the technology. I mean, both are important, but I think when you talk about trust in the technology, it's very easy to build trust for the technology if you adopt a methodological process, like making sure that there is transparency, there's co-creation, there is rigor, there's validation, like the colleague from Ministry of Health talked about. And also, more importantly, that you train the community members on how the system works and where the data is coming from. So you can easily build trust in the technology. But when it comes to institution, it's a bit more difficult because the trust institution precedes most times the technology you are bringing. It's based on historical context, power dynamics, and how the people that are assessing the technology feels that the stakeholders are accountable to them. So all those things come into play when you look at that. And especially for vulnerable populations, people that have no voice, one of the things they ask themselves first is that what is this system going to be used for? Is it going to be in our interest, or the key stakeholders just want additional information to perpetrate the difficult situation that they've been already before? So it's very important that institutions are actually at the front burner, and they are some of the, I think is the most difficult part of the process to actually trust when you deploy AI. And I think we can cite a few examples, especially in the health sector. We talk about development and humanitarian context. You know that health data is very sensitive. Everybody likes to keep their issues private, and it even becomes much more sensitive when you talk about sexual and reproductive health of people. So if the population, they are not sure of how you're going to use the information on gender-based violence, for example, and we know that there are also a lot of repercussions when, or I don't know how to put it, I think consequences when women report gender-based violence. And if the people reporting do not believe that the AI models or the data collection process is going to, respect their confidentiality, they might not cooperate, and they might not trust that the system can protect them when they need the system. The other issue is the issue of accountability on the part of the institutions. Because, there's no system that is 100% perfect. Sometimes AI can also make mistakes, but people want to be sure that when mistakes arise, the key stakeholders, the institutions, have systems in place to transparently address the mistakes that have been made and make sure that there are mitigation measures put in place to make sure that there's no repeat of such mistakes. And I think lastly, one of the things that make trust in institutions difficult is that in many contexts, sometimes we just adopt AI models that are pre-designed, that have been designed, maybe used elsewhere. We just want to use them because we think it can solve the problem that we have. But most times they don't directly address the needs of people, and people might even think, oh, these people coming from this country, they are just coming here to impose things on us, or these institutions that are in the capital, they are just trying to impose things on us without being involved in it. So I think one of the key speakers spoke earlier on about the issue of co-creation. I think it will be very, very important for that trust in institution to be strong. Institution needs to encourage co-creation with the communities, especially the end users and also the community members, on how the AI models would address the concerns or the difficulties that they are facing. So I have the privilege to meet with Wadwani guys several times since last year. And I think one of the key points that we try to validate at our first meeting is, are you just bringing something here to show us how to use it, or you are going to develop something with us? Because in Rwanda, it's a very special context. Rwanda needs tools that would directly affect the needs of the people in Rwanda, because we've had experience with them in that respect. So that's one of the first questions I asked. Are we deploying the finished products, or we are coming here to co-create with the country? And we are reassured that, no, we are coming here to understand what is here. We have experiences from elsewhere, but we want to make sure that whatever is deployed in Rwanda actually is created within Rwanda, and there will be issues of data sovereignty, that the data will be hosted in Rwanda, because I know we've had experience in the past where government actually says, no, our data needs to be domiciled in Kigali. So I think all these issues will not arise with Wadwani because of the reassurance that we've gotten and the steps that we've had with you that has actually already addressed those issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Adilakin. I made a mistake of looking at Gitika, and I've got a look that says, get off the stage. But when will I get such experience together? So I'm going to risk it, Gitika, and I'm going to ask one more question. And we've been talking about challenges, we've been talking about context, we've been talking about trust. What is one area where India and Rwanda could realistically co-develop an AI solution within the next 2 years? Let's talk action. Open for everyone. Actually, happy to open it for the audience as well. Go for it.
Okay, yeah. Maybe let me start. So I think the first thing is that for Rwanda, we already have environment that promotes technology, innovators to innovate around technology and the AI. For me, I think we are welcoming a partnership with India. Actually, we've been working together with India Ministry of Health, learning from them on unifying health data. I think India have the best health information exchange that we've been sharing experience. So I think at this time, we've been working on availing data, because actually when we're talking about AI, it's data actually. AI is about data, because if you're talking about artificial intelligence, there is a human intelligence that we've been training for long. You see blue, it's blue. Next time when you see blue, it's blue. You see a person, they tell you this is a person. Then next time you see a person, this is a person. Then you keep seeing many things. I think that is the way we are training also AI. I think we've been working on having the intelligence center. And when we're talking about data, it's not only data of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's different types of data, image, statistics, and other data that can really allow us to co-create and co-design this AI in a way that they are really trained on different types of data, not only one type of data. So given on that environment that we have in place, and given that we are still, our main focus is improving the quality of care. So I'm seeing if we can partner around improving the patient treatment from the start up to the end. Actually, the already initiative that we're working on, that is something that we can join together. But again, I'm 100% sure. There's other initiatives that are working the other side that are not working in this side. I like the idea of having open source. So open source makes it easy actually to make sure that we co-create around the open source without inventing and without even investing much resources and also contextualize it at our setting. So we are welcoming in these 2 years, if it's possible, prioritize the health sector. Our minister is there. So if it's possible, let us prioritize the health sector because we have everything we need. Actually, we can also use the foundation that we have in place. We have data, we have actually we already have the policy, AI policy from Ministry of ICT. So I think it's very easy for us to work together and also be able to improve or add value on what we're doing on digitalization.
Thank you very much. I think I would like to second what our colleague from Ministry of Health has just said, that we need to prioritize the health sector. I remember I got to know about Wadwani during the meeting that was convened by the High Commissioner for India last year. And all we were hearing was agriculture, labor, education. I was like, excuse me, I'm from the health sector. We know those things are important, but if you don't have health, you cannot eat, even if you have all the food. If you don't have health, you cannot work, even if unemployment is 0. So they said, okay, let's listen to you. What do you want? I said, yes, in the health sector, we need AI. We've been doing so much, and we've set ambitious targets for ourselves, as a country in the NST2. We want to reduce maternal mortality rate as fast as possible and as far as possible. In fact, Rwanda has a target that is far lower than the global target for maternal mortality rate. And they also want to attain it in 2029 instead of in 2030. And by that time, the maternal mortality rate was about 200 and something, which was still very high. And then we said, look, for us to go the extra mile and make this quicker, we need additional tools. And AI was identified as one of the tools that we need. Now, we just had the DHS that was released, I think, late last year in December. And we've been able to reduce maternal mortality by 25%. But we know that to go further than that and to go deeper, it's much more difficult because as maternal mortality drops, it becomes much more difficult to actually get to, the targets that you want to get to. So I believe if there's one area that we need AI in the health sector, because I work in SRH, maternal mortality is one of the concerns that we have. I think it's on how we can use AI to aid predictive diagnosis, therapeutics in the hospitals to make the work of the health workers, the nurses, not only easier but faster, to save time so that they can make quick decisions that would help. Because when it comes to maternal mortality, time is one of the most critical factors. If you have all the infrastructure in the world, all the medicines, if you don't make quick decisions and treat the patient on time, the woman might die before even the baby comes out. So we need AI to help us increase the speed and accuracy of our health workers. And I believe in this collaboration, we'll be able to do that. And our aspiration is actually to make sure that Rwanda is the first country in Africa to have 0 preventable maternal deaths. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I can support my colleagues. That the health sector is the one in which we can work together. Looking at the context, you can look at which contexts are similar to India and Rwanda, and then you can see where we can apply this AI based on the context, because the context also matters, and the data we are using, so they should also have some similarity. So if you look at the case they are saying, so they can look at the one in which you have the context similar to both countries, and you can be able to develop a solution to work on that area. Thank you.
Just allow me to advocate for the people who are not on the table, because the health sector people, they really preached for for their part very aggressively. But, standing without being appointed for, standing in the people that are not here, I think that there is multiple opportunities in almost all the sectors. Looking at the similarities in structure of India and Rwanda and many African countries, the difference is like the population in an Indian city is twice the population of Rwanda. But when you look at the classes into the people and the way of living, there is a lot of similarities. So therefore, yes, healthcare, that's a need. But the people who get to the hospital, they have to eat. Or probably they are there because they didn't eat. So agriculture is a need where there is a lot of similarities between Indian structure and Rwandan structure. And of course, education. Who is going to produce all these solutions and put them in context and all this? There is another opportunity. And even the way of delivering it. You know, they probably among the first computer engineers in Rwanda were trained in India. So guess what? There is an opportunity to this. Why not explore to it? And more. This was just to, you know, get out of the crowd a bit and, and balance the talk. Thank you.
I'm also going to go with his sentiments. Unfortunately, sorry, the health guys. There's also other areas that that would be quite interesting. If you're up for the challenge, we have centralized citizen engagement. How do the people get back to the government? How does the government get back to the people? How do we create governance, transparency? How do we reach from different structures to others? There's a lot of deployment there which is required in AI. Believe me, it's a very complicated sector, and maybe AI might help free up some of the things that are happening there. There's also an opportunity in the education, but I'm very sentimental about centralized citizen engagement because maybe, Andrew, just because you've attacked the health part, I've also been in that area for some years now, and we've tried and failed so many times on so many things, but it's quite a very interesting area. It covers almost the whole population. And it also involves so many conversations around land, social protection programs, Michueli de Sante. There's a lot of things happening in that sector as well. And a deployment of some AI in that area might actually free up some of the pressure that is happening to the amount of deployed people on the field working in that entire sector. If we are looking at the Ministry of Local Government, they will tell you we're supposed to handle all the cases in real time, but there are things where if a citizen loses trust in the government and says it probably will never be solved, maybe if we try to deploy some models there, you may not get a solution to your problem, but you'll get that message that tells you we're working on it, we remember you, we keep texting you, the AI keeps talking to you. And in the end, if we end up with just a chatbot where I can talk to it and still not have a solution, at least we have something that is workable. I'm kidding. But yes, there's opportunities in centralized citizen engagement and in the education sector as well. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for the wonderful discussion we have had today. Unfortunately, my temptation to ask that last question ate up the question answer time. However, we are locking up the hotel. We'll not let these guys leave until they ask your questions, answer your questions over dinner. Thank you so much for being such a patient audience. Thank you for all the lovely panelists with such insightful discussions today. Please join me in giving a loud round of applause for all our panelists over here.
Thank you so much. I think we need a season 2 of this panel for sure. Just before we leave the stage, Mr. Nakul, we would like you to just express our appreciation to the panelists with a token of gratitude. It's from today's discussion and connect them to the upcoming Global South engagements, may I invite Dr. Rakesh Kumar to share the closing reflections. Dr. Rakesh Kumar is a distinguished formal civil servant and a global health leader from India with formal education in medicine, public health, and management. He has more than 3 decades of experience in designing policies and implementing large-scale programs in India while working at various government ministries and UN international agencies. At the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, he led the world's largest reproductive, maternal, newborn child, and adolescent health portfolio, including nutrition, gender, and the health communications. He majorly contributed to the polio eradication in 2014 and led the maternal and neonatal tetanus elimination in 2015, 2 monumental achievements in succession in India. Currently, he's working in a global role as a chief advisor to Wadhwani AI Global to support the organization's effort in the Global South. So.
Honorable Minister of State for ICT and Innovations, Republic of Rwanda, Mr. Iradukunda, Indian High Commissioner, His Excellency Mridu Pawandas, Mr. Sunil Wadhwani, the founder of Wadhwani AI from the USA, senior government officials from the government of Rwanda, excellencies, ambassadors of various missions in Kigali, representatives and heads of UN agencies, very distinguished panelists, I think we all heard, representatives of development partners, donors, academia, my colleagues Nakul Jain, Harsh, Deepika, Kanishk, and our PR team, friends from media, also the colleagues from Indian High Commission and from Honorable Minister's Office. It is indeed a privilege to have you all in numbers today at the Marriott for this pre-summit on AI. I've been bestowed upon the responsibility of doing 2 things. One is to propose a vote of thanks, and second is to sum up the session. But the time allocated is just for 5 minutes, so I don't know how to do justice with this. Nevertheless, at the outset, I'd like to thank, and I'll be grateful to Honorable Minister of State, His Excellency, Mr. Iradukunda, for accepting our request to be the chief guest and the keynote speaker and presenting the potential AI roadmap between India and Rwanda. Sir, I had a privilege of meeting you a couple of days ago. And what impressed me the most was your eye for details and your decision-making capability. Also, I'm grateful and we are thankful to you for your leadership, for curating a partnership between the 2 nations, and to be more specific, between Rwanda and Wadhwani AI Global. I fall short of words in expressing my deep gratitude to our visionary founder, Mr. Sunil Wadhwani, for taking all the troubles, flying from New York, Pittsburgh, to the extent that his flight got diverted to another country. He had to spend almost 3 hours, got delayed, but still he ensured that he is available today for this particular conference. His commitment to technology, you've all heard, is absolutely infectious. He was the one who really founded the India mission that was way back in 2018 and was launched by none other than our Honorable Prime Minister. So we thank you so much for sharing your inspiring journey and your continued support to the cause of AI and social impact in the Global South. Excellency, Mridu Pawandas, the Indian High Commissioner, has been the driving force behind this conference. We are witness to his unparalleled diplomatic skills and his deep desire to cement, I would like to use this word, cement, India-Rwanda partnership in the field of AI. Thanks, Mridu, for all the things that you have been doing for the country and especially for us. I would like to thank all the participants for your active participation and your engaging discussions. Your enthusiasm and interest in the AI for social impact have made this conference very successful. I would like to extend a special thanks and my sincere gratitude to the galaxy of stars. You must have heard all these 5 top-notch speakers and panelists. Distinguished panelists including Dr. Erlakin, who is the representative of UNFA, Mr. Olivier from Rwanda AI Scaling Hub, Mr. Nasser from GIZ, Professor Damien from University of Rwanda, Andrew Muhare, had a distinct, we had a wonderful meeting that Mr. Pawan Mridudas had called for. That was in the month of July. I'd like to just highlight one thing, very categorically over here, is that they collectively shed light on all the aspects of AI, what all is possible. Just to name a few, we talk about strategies, policies, programs, ethical and responsible AI readiness, importance of qualitative data, bottlenecks in scaling up those pilots, what all is needed. Look at the capacity building, which is need of the hour. Evaluations to help scale up all the AI solutions, funds and financing, anything you talk, what could be the possible success metrics, for, and beyond the innovations, public-private partnership, role of universities and research institutions, in especially taking the AI from the lab to the public. And finally, the India-Rwanda partnership in the South-South cooperation. The deliberations have been absolutely tremendous, and the recommendations are going to play an important role in shaping the roadmap for the AI for the Global South. Friends, I think we all know that the key challenges, especially we face in the Global South, are, just to mention a few, we do have gaps in the AI infrastructure. Look at the capacity building, which is so poor in these countries. What about the promotion of local innovations and solutions? Again, it is missing. How to address the ethical and social implications, again, is an important factor. Lack of collaborations and knowledge sharing, and of course, the data gaps. I heard all the 3 top keynote speakers, and everyone highlighted on the power of partnership. I think that makes all the sense. I would like to take you SDG 17. I used to baffle many times that, how come SDG 17, which is partnership, can be a goal. It could be just a means, but now I really realize that this is one of the most important goals, that was set way back in 2015 on partnership. When we talk about the partnerships, we also talk about integration. There has to be an integration of sectors, actors, and geographies. I think we can't really achieve anything. We talk about anything, including AI, there has to be an integration. Similarly, when you talk about partnerships, it has got multiple dimensions, like data. There has to be partnership on data. What about partnership in technology, especially AI, financing, innovations, capacity building, HR? I think partnership makes a whole lot of sense when you talk about anything in achieving the SDGs, especially the AI I'm talking. Therefore, friends, I think we need to bring in a sharper focus on integration and partnerships as a means to achieve our ultimate goal of AI for the Global South. This conference is a perfect example of partnership under one roof. As we conclude the convening today, I would like to thank everyone once again for making it a truly unforgettable experience. Let us keep the enthusiasm and momentum going and work together to harness the potential of AI for social impact in the Global South. I thank you all for a wonderful evening, for your deliberations, for your, especially the presence. And I'm sure this is the first step. And with the presence of the 2 and 3 important leaders, Honorable Minister, Mr. Wadhwani, and our Indian High Commissioner, I'm sure it is just a beginning and will take you to a logical end. Thank you so much, and we conclude here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar, for those thoughtful reflections. With that, we come to the close of the AI for Impact Global Forum. Thank you all for being part of this important discussion. A big thank you to India High Commission, His Excellency Mridu Pavan Das, for your support in putting this together, Honorable Eve for gracing us with your presence, and Mr. Sunil Wadhwani for encouraging us as always. And all the guests present here, I hope you had a good evening. We now invite you to step outside for drinks and networking. Dinner will be served in 30 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, welcome back. As the Global South Forum for AI for Impact comes to an end, I am with my colleague Olga Isimbi to give you her notes on what this felt like for her. Welcome, Olga.
So for this forum, we learned many things. We had many beautiful things and many exciting things. And let me share you what of those things that I have learned from this. So one of the things that they were discussing on is that we have to conceptualize AI and understand it and trust it actually. The other thing that we have to train our community, and I totally agree with it. We have to train our community to learn and understand AI and not just think that AI is something that's very major, it's very big that it can do. Also, we have to, how to coordinate AI and use it for solving our own challenges and problems.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I know.
That's so good.
And we have also to remember that AI is not a primary need, but rather something used for gaining our productivity, increasing our productivity. And we also heard that AI adds value to what we do actually day to day. They also suggested that companies and institutions have to take accountability to what the public or the community gets, the problems that they meet with. And basically, there are many things that we learned from this. All you have to do is just listen to it, the whole conversation. And, one of the most important thing that I had, that I can say that I had, is that this forum came actually not to, give us the finished product, but rather they came to learn and see how we are, where we are, and then later they have to create the product designed within Rwanda.
Yes, of course.
Yes,
Oh,
thank
that
you
was
very
so
much.
good. Thank you so much, Olga.
Also, but the example that they gave, you guys have to go and listen and watch. It was a really interesting conversation.
If you care on how AI is going to impact the languages, they talked about that. They had so many themes. Now, for more, follow and like and subscribe and watch the live on EMG TV. Thank you.